I'm so excited to be here today with you guys because it's coming full circle and coming back together after you guys first met. It actually started at the beginning. How did you find Operator Collective?
Going back a little bit, what I was thinking about is how do we can supplement our kind of existing investors with additional great investors, but that have a slightly different model than the traditional VC model, which is like you go and meet a partner. It's usually this elderly white gentleman, and they are the ones that say, hey, here's our way to add value to your company. And we just saw what you're doing and said, hey, this is definitely a group that we would like to partner with that can probably provide a lot of value. What you did, which is, hey, here's these luminaries of the industry, right? Some of the most successful people who ever work in the industry, and talk to them about the problem. And hey, there's also an upside that they might become a customer, which is music to my ears. That's like the best value add is a value add that even before you actually engage with that investor. And that was very clear from the process with Operator Collective.
And by the way, the thing that we do when we tee it up is we're actually very upfront about that. We just said, this is the founder. We've reviewed this. We think it's great. We would love to get your feedback on it. Will you take a meeting with him or her? Will you give them feedback? Will you give us feedback? And by the way, like all good founders, they may try to sell you the product. And on the flip side, Vitaly, what you don't know is we get a lot of thank yous from the operator side, which is, I didn't know about the solution. This is a problem I'm facing. I'm excited to meet with them. And Bonnie, we brought you in pretty quickly because I was like, I know just the person who knows far more about this space than I ever will. And Bonnie, you actually used to be like an analyst before early in your days. So you fell into this very, very seamlessly, which is cool. So what I'm excited to do is now bring you guys back together because you did extensive vetting, you did technical diligence with your technical community. The way to think about Operator Collective, right? It's not just us and the operator LPs, it's all of our networks, credibility, and experiences too. So it's a multiplier effect.
Yeah, I think there's all these threads coming together. Vitaly's talking to the Operator Collective members. I also had several kind of side conversations with people that had spoken to Vitaly. Most of my conversations from the technical side really focused on, do you think this is a solution that would work for you? How much customization would it take? How much time would it take you to implement it? What's the value you think you would get out of it? And I had great conversations with Vitaly, also with Shubha, who heads our product over at Faros, and really was able to, one, get to know the product, got demo after demo, was able to dive into myself into the documentation, but also a really important part was getting to know the people in the team involved. And one of the things that really struck me about Faros, in addition to Vitaly and Shubha being fantastically smart and talented people, was the kind of relationship they had. It was, in addition to just a great product and a great technical architecture, was the team itself.
But it's fun to now bring you back together. So in the year plus or so since we invested, Vitaly, tell us a little bit about your progress.
Since that investment, we grew our ARR, we quadrupled it. Our ACV now is within the 16 figures. We're very lucky to work with companies like Autodesk, Salesforce, Box, Coursera, and many others. Even though it was a very difficult year financially for everyone, we not only did not experience any churn, we also experienced a lot of expansion, and some of our customers even doubled their contract with us, which roughly translates to 130 kind of net dollar retention. And this is kind of just the beginning because, as an example, Autodesk, which is now $500,000 a year contract for us, it's only for about 10% of their engineering workforce. And so hopefully, if we do this again next year, we can talk about the 7-figure contract that we now have with these companies.
Yeah, so you glossed over that a little bit quickly. So I'm going to emphasize on how unusual this is, especially to do it in today's market. So you launched the current product in Q4 2021. You went from 0 to 450K in the first 3 months. And with enterprise customers, you didn't start with the small SMBs, and then 4x revenue, like you said, over the last year. And now in 15 months since launch, you have 18 customers, including the enterprise customers that you listed. With how much churn do you have, Vitaly?
We don't believe in churn, Malin.
So I thought. And every customer has expanded at renewal. And how many doubled their contract size?
Quite a few, because we only had a handful of them that went through the renewal, but pretty much all of them have renewed and some of them doubled, yes.
Yeah. And you even have, because it's 15 months and with annual contracts, obviously not that many were up for renewal. However, you've also had people renew early.
Yeah, so that is also not just renew, but also throughout that year, we created additional functionality that was an upsell, and they decided to even go and buy that additional functionality. So we had both renewals and upsells within the customer base, which is very exciting, especially at a time like that.
The expansion is amazing. I think for me, that's probably the statistic that like I most want to celebrate, right? Because I think it'd be very easy for a customer to say, yes, this is a problem I want to solve. Absolutely. This sounds amazing, and get signed up and then get distracted with other things and maybe decide it's not so much of a priority. The fact that they're expanding and doubling down is a huge sign that like the product's actually really delivering on its promise of value. So I think obviously great to sign new customers, but the expansion numbers and the lack of churn are huge things to celebrate. So congrats, Vitaly. That's amazing to hear.
Thank you. I wish I could say it was easy, but it wasn't.
Never easy.
Thank you guys both for your time, and please continue to lean on us. We're here. We want to help.